Hello, everyone. Welcome to Comfortable Shoes Studio. And I'm Les, and in this episode, I'm going to do a little urban sketching from this photo. I'm going to pop it over on this side of the screen so you can follow along. Now, this image is originally why won't it shrink? Anyway, it's originally like that, but I really want to focus on it a little closer up. And I'm focusing on this green building right here. I don't want it smack in the middle. I think this might be compositionally better. Um, yeah, that's going to make a better composition. So we're going to zoom in a little bit and I'm going to put that green building there, and then I'll have the street headed up there. So I don't know how much I'm actually gonna fit onto this page here, but we're gonna do it. I might need to go and let the dog back in because he decided just before I started hit go that he wanted to go outside. And of course, my case does not. Little technical difficulty there. We're gonna flip it. There, that's better. I can cut that out. My intent with this image is to kind of talk my way through it. So I'm going to do a little bit of an under sketch in probably I'm gonna go with a regular pencil, and then I'll go over the top of it with ink. And the great thing about working from a photo is that I can move things around. So let's get a little bit of that line there for the street. And then that just kind of rough things in. This building is also difficult because it is curved. So that doesn't really show up in this image all that much, but it is quite curved. It wraps around the corner a little bit, and yeah, so a little bit difficult to kind of capture that curve because the new build or the new businesses in here have another broken up the building a little bit, so it's and I think the dog wants to come in. Of course, the minute I actually sit down, he wants in. Um, so then the other difficult thing for me with this image is that it is we've got the overpass blocking the upper part of the scene, and yeah, the sidewalk here is pretty uneven. I'm gonna block in the car a little bit. And as usual, I am not worrying too much about realism. I'm going for vibes here, not real. The other hard part is that all of these vehicles are parked along the curve of the sidewalk, and that makes it kind of harder to represent them accurately. And I know my proportions are a little off because, well, the car, yeah, I gotta work, definitely want to work on my cars a little bit. I am not particularly great at drawing cars yet. Now, this little island here that is meant to protect people crossing in the sidewalk. I don't know if it helps or not. So we got the sidewalk coming through like that. Going there. And I think the other difficult aspect about this scene is that the the buildings themselves make it hard to kind of represent what's going on here. So because it's, there's a lot going on visually, and that in my mind really does make it a little harder to kind of get an accurate representation. But again, I'm going for vibes, not realism. And then we've got the overpass, which I really am tempted to put it at a much more drastic angle than it is. And actually, that's pretty visually straight on camera. Yeah, it's wild how that happens. So then we've got these cross beams that are giving the impression that things are at an angle when they're really not. Okay. So then we've got that. Actually, you can kind of see curve there. We've got a sign breaking up the plane. There's the name of that it's not a restaurant, it's a bodega. And again, because of how these buildings are set up, it makes the representation of this a little more difficult. And then there's a little white sign there leaning against. And then we're just gonna leave that kind of up to your imagination. We're gonna focus, or I'm going to focus, I guess, on representing these windows with some more, I don't know if I'd call it realism, but accuracy, I guess. I'm gonna go again here. There's some strange stuff going on with perspective and that window. Oh, and we've got a street light. And I'm fudging stuff here for sure. So you also see that I'm smudging this image a lot. All right, I'm gonna hit pause on this and go let my dog in because he's getting a little squirrely outside. All right, that underdrawing is pretty rough, but I'm happy with that as it is. So now I'm gonna go into it with this fountain pen with a Fude nib. This is one of my favorites. And I'm just gonna start adding in some ink lines here. And I'm gonna start with the pen more upright. So I'm getting kind of the thinnest possible lines I can get with this particular pen. So I'm not focusing on details. I'm just getting in sort of the roughed in major lines. And some of this I'm going to go straight for a fat line. The overpass is very dark, so I'm going to use a thick line to show that. And yeah, I'm just coming in here. And I'm using kind of letting the pen break itself up a little bit. So I'm also correcting things a little as I'm coming in with the ink. So there are some spots where I'm just kind of like sliding the lines over a little bit, if that makes sense. Probably not going to make sense, but that's okay. There's a big ol' Domino's sign here. It's quite something else. So the thing that I'm recognizing now is the signs are really breaking up the planes of the building to a point. So I'm trying to get that in as well. Some of these buildings are really old and very funky. I'm getting a little lost in details. think the details are always interesting. Oh, there goes my dog again. So, yeah, I'm gonna bring the front bumper of that car, SUV, whatever you want to call it, up quite a bit so that it's actually, there we go, actually matches better. Yep. And I'm actually I enjoy letting the kind of car just be, in terms of like details and whatnot. I still didn't bring it up quite as much as I would like. Oh well. Also, this light pole needs to come over a little bit. Now I don't know if I'm gonna add in the watercolors for this or not. And the dog has decided to go wild after not wanting to come in. So, gotta pause this again. All right, so I just learned that I didn't have my microphone on for the first half of this video. So, that's not great. But anyway, um, that's annoying. So, I'm going to add in this line and then that. Well, I intended for this to be a chat while I draw kind of thing, but managed to foul up the recording by not checking to make sure my mic was on. So that's a whole thing. Very annoying. Stuff happens, right? Stuff happens. I think the hardest part of representing these old buildings is that they all are a little weird. Like this one feels very 70s. It's got a um, glass bricks in there, which just seems like a weird choice for New England. So my screen keeps trying to go to sleep on me. So I think I mentioned that as I'm working, I'm kind of correcting my perspective issues, and all of that. Um, Correcting it, I guess, to a point as much as I can. Also, I'm realizing I really do want to work on my card drawing. Um, I don't know if I am going to um, add watercolors to this or not. I kind of want to. Um, I also like recognize that's an added complication I may not need or want. All right, so here's a whole other goes there like that. So there are two separate buildings here. This building and this building are separate, but there's been some attempt made through the windows to make them look as though they belong together. There is a arched doorway there, and then some more windows here. And here is the medical building. All right, let's go back into this and add in sidewalk. And we've got a little sidewalk island thing happening here. It's been hit a million times by cars and plows. All right. Adding in some shadows. It's a little cross-hatching action. Some curtains happening up here. Some texture in there. No. Some more texture there. All right. And up here, we got, I'm not going to fill this all in. Just adding in a little bit of visual texture. And yeah, the rivets are not this random, but I don't want this as dark because I think it'll just visually detract from all of this. So I think, all right, I'm going to hit this with the heat gun, and then I'm going to come back and I'm going to add some more contrast. Oh, I'm going to erase, then I'm going to add more contrast. All right, so I'm going to use the Pentel Ein to do my erasing. This I feel is really similar to my favorite eraser, which is the Sumo by Sakura. Yeah, all right, that cleans it up a lot. So what has effectively happened? The pencil where I had smudged it had given me a really nice mid-tone, pretty much over my entire image. And so as I clean this up, that mid-tone, or lighter mid-tone even, has disappeared, and that leaves the image better. Well, I'm better able to see my, like, where I need to add some darks. All right, so I think I'm actually going to come into this with watercolors. I know I said I might not do that, but I really want that green in there. I think the best way to do that is with watercolors. I'm going to keep the rest of the scene kind of similar to what's already there. So I am going to use the Cali Arts set that I put a, not really a review on, but like kind of did a first look video of it. So yeah, so I'm going to use these to add some color. I'm going to use water brushes. Once I figure out what I did. Oh, I know where they are. They're right there. So I'm going to use the water brushes that came with this. I think they all came with this. They might not have. No, they didn't all. They didn't all come with it. So I'm just going to use whatever brushes I feel like. So I'm going to go in with this one, and I am, so this is a nice big wide brush, and I'm gonna set kind of, I'm gonna set the warm tones up, and unfortunately I haven't set this up for making mixes yet, but I think I'm gonna start mainly with a little yellow ochre. This building over here is very yellow ochre. So the top part of these buildings are that kind of yellow ochre color. This building's yellow. There's a lot of yellow ochre up in here. So lifting with that brush is not good. I'm just pulling that brush out. All right, so a little slightly warmer version of yellow ochre. Add whatever that is to it. And yeah, it's a little too intense. Um, And then this is, I'm just going to go straight over those windows because we're going to darken those up. And lift, oh, there we go, that's better. All right, and then that's very white. All right. This car is a navy color, but I actually want to get the sidewalk. So this area is brick. And that's not quite the brick red I'm looking for. That's a little better. And I want to tone that down. I'm going to hit it with a little bit of that green. Yeah, that's better. Okay. So we got a little bit of brick going there. I'm going to layer in a little bit of this darker ochre color up here. And then this building also has slightly darker spots that I just feel like I want to capture. Again, I'm keeping it pretty loose there on purpose. I don't not looking for realism here. And what's interesting is there's a little reflected light from these buildings on the train overpass. So the color of the sky is pretty blown out, but I'm gonna just brush in a very faint blue tone. This sign here is actually a pretty vibrant blue. I'm gonna paint that in, and then part of this sign is a vibrant blue. Some blue there, some blue there. We got blue there and there, blue there. A lot of blue. All right, so the street is a blue-gray color. I'm gonna use this Payne's gray, which I think I mentioned. I didn't mention it, is not what I would determine to be a true Payne's gray. Add a little bit of that blue in there, and then some burnt umber to get the street color. All right, that's pretty good for me. Again, I am not going to do the whole street. And then for the sidewalk, I'm actually gonna mix this yellow with a little bit of that yellow ochre with that blue color, that blue-gray color, and get that sidewalk painted. Also, this is kind of that same shade. Kind of a earthy, warm gray. I'm going to use this on these windows, just because it'll tie everything together. I'm also going to use it on that window and for some shadow here. It's good shadow color. It's a pretty warm day, so shadows were, I should say sunny. It was a sunny day, and so shadows were pretty well, were pretty warm in my opinion that day. I am going to come up here and add some shadows on this building. Now, this building is going to be painted in this nearly fluorescent green. Um, so this building over here is white. Using so I'm just giving a suggestion of the overpass with these kind of leftover colors, because it really does need to be darkened in quite a bit. All right, that works for me. So the hard part is this building is painted black. Um, so it's stands out quite a bit here. This building is white, but I've also got some red. We got some really super bright red, both in that sign and here. And then this is more of a brick red, but because the red is going over that yellow ochre, it's going to be earthier. So we're using some overlaying. This brush is starting to dry out. It does go through water crazy fast because it doesn't, well, it's such a huge water brush. This bottle is great for refilling. You do have to be careful for when you are refilling, but that water bottle works great. All right, so I need to darken these windows. And I'm gonna go with my, I'm gonna mix up another gray. I'm gonna go back to, I'm gonna use this kind of bluish purple color. And I'm going to go back to that burnt umber. Now, I think I mentioned this in my review video of these watercolors. These colors are not mixing. Oh, that did not work the way I hoped. I got way too much color. These colors are not true. There we go. That's a good blue gray. Got a little hint of green in it. So these colors keep having to repeat. Talking while I'm making art is not easy. So these colors, because they are not true to their namesakes, it is a lot harder to get the mixes, in my opinion. The coloration doesn't mix the way I really expect it to. So um, it's harder to get the blend where I want it to be. Um, so yeah, it's harder to mix than with some of my other watercolor sets. Also, because I don't know these yet. That's a whole other aspect of watercolors is you get to know your watercolor set, and it becomes a lot easier to use that set once you're familiar with all the colors that are included. Um, Whereas this set is, brand new to me and I don't know it at all. So getting to know this is a little more difficult. Now I'm going to um, do the cars in this color too. They're both black, um, but I kind of want to de-emphasize the cars. All right, so I'm going to switch to a finer brush. And all right, that one doesn't have any water in it. That one has a little bit. All right, so this is actually a pretty fat brush, but I'm going to use a very dark blue, um, and I'm going to mix it with that gray color to tone it down a little bit, and then I'm gonna add in more dark areas um, to the SUV and the car, um, which is actually going to amp up the contrast a little too much for my liking, but that's okay. It is going to emphasize them a little more than I would like, but what are you going to do? And get some, I'm going to let, I'm going to do my usual thing where I let the watercolors kind of move around on the page a little bit on their own. Uh, so yeah, these watercolors do not move as much as some other watercolors that I've used. I think to tone down that blue, I'm going to come into it with a little bit of red. There we go. I'm going to purple it up a little bit. And then, yeah, red is what it needs. All right. So now I gotta clean out some of that red. I'm gonna actually use this same color for the Domino's building, because even though it is painted black, it is kind of washed out and flat black now. And then we got the bodega, which actually has a red sign. Darkening up that. All right. And that is out of water as well. All right. We'll use this one. So that building is almost a neon lime green. So I'm going to use this bright, I think it's called leaf green, straight out of the pan, and I'm going to layer it over that for the brightest areas. And then I'll go back in with another shade of green for the sort of less washed out areas. So there is the color of this building is a little washed out in the sunlight in this image, and I'm okay with that. This would have been a better green, I think, than that leafy green, because it is definitely a little more blue than, there we go, than some of the, what it looks like, I guess, in this image. All right, I gotta darken in that planter. And do a little brick red, a little bit of that. All right, I'm pretty happy with that. I haven't done any urban sketching in a while. I like how it's got my style there, and good practice, I think, for actual urban sketching. I do like, I'm really getting connected with these natural cellulose sponges for blotting my brush out. Holds a ton of water. I mean, I don't know if you can, but yeah, that's so anyway. Digging this, pretty happy with that. The green isn't quite where I'd like it there, but I can always go back and overlay more green over it if I want to. Didn't soak through the page, so we're good. Thanks for being here. I really appreciate you watching the channel. I will make the image available to you. I'll see if I can post it somewhere so you can open it up and download it if you'd like and do your own drawing, but I'll also have it on the video itself so that you can see what I'm drawing as I am working. Anyway, thanks for being here. Thanks for the support. If you enjoyed this at all, please hit that subscribe button and the thumbs up button. And if you really enjoyed this, share it with someone, because that's the best way to get people interested in the channel is seeing their friends share that they enjoy a video. Anyway, thank you for being here, and I'll see you next time. Bye.